Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving into something pretty captivating today. It's a question that's fascinated humans for centuries, really.
Yeah,
What are the most beautiful things to look at?
a big question for sure.
We've got a really fascinating source to work with today, a popular top 10 list from the Top 10's website,
Okay.
and it's got a huge range of beautiful things on it. Everything from celestial wonders
Uh,
to heartwarming personal picks. So get ready for some surprises, and who knows, maybe we'll even get a little debate going about what really captures the eye.
I'm excited to unpack this list. It's a really great way to jump into all the different sides of beauty and how what we find visually appealing
Yeah.
really comes down to our own perception.
This is personal.
It is.
All right, so kicking this list off at the top with a view that I think resonates with pretty much everyone.
Okay.
Sunsets.
Yes.
Why do you think sunsets have such universal appeal?
Yeah.
Is it just the science of light,
Yeah.
or is there something more there?
I think it's a really interesting mix of both. I mean, yeah, you have the science behind it, the way the Earth's atmosphere scatters sunlight,
Right.
which gives us those really vibrant reds and oranges
Yeah.
during sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a psychological component, too. Some theories say that as humans, we're drawn to these colors because they signal the end of the workday, a time for rest and reflection.
Oh, yeah. It's that time to unwind.
Exactly. And maybe those warm hues, they kind of tap into a sense of peace
Hmm.
and tranquility, like on a primal level.
Yeah, it's like a built-in signal
Yeah.
to unwind.
Yeah,
Like you said, a natural time to just appreciate the beauty around us.
absolutely.
Speaking of celestial wonders, another high-ranking entry is the full moon.
Oh, yes.
There's something about that perfectly illuminated orb in the night sky
Yeah.
that just feels magical and romantic, don't you think?
Absolutely. And what I find interesting is how the source describes the full moon as like an instantaneous event,
Yeah.
almost like it's this fleeting moment of perfection, a cosmic blink, and you miss it in spectacle. I think that impermanence maybe that adds to its allure. Like we're drawn to things that are rare and
Right.
precious.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it evokes such vivid imagery, too, like howling at the moon under a sky full of stars.
Oh, definitely.
Have you ever experienced a truly dark, star-filled sky?
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
I'll never forget the first time I saw the Milky Way in all its glory.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing to
Yeah.
think about just the vastness of space
Right.
and the sheer number of stars out there.
It really puts things into perspective. It's a humbling experience, isn't it? And, when you think about it, that starlight we're seeing is actually hundreds, sometimes even thousands of years old.
Oh, wow, yeah?
It adds another layer of awe to it.
It's true.
We're literally gazing back in time, witnessing light that began its journey long before we were even here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was happening on Earth when those photons first set off on their journey to our eyes?
Exact.
It makes you think about the grand sweep of history and our place in it.
It does.
Wow. Now that you mention it, that IS incredible.
Uh,
And speaking of awe-inspiring celestial, displays the Aurora Borealis.
A northern light.
Yes, the Northern Lights
Yeah.
also made it onto this list. And the source even describes it as like a life-changing experience, almost spiritual.
Yeah, the Northern Lights, they have this incredible power to evoke wonder and a sense of the sublime.
Mhm.
And for good reason, it's a breathtaking spectacle. Those dancing lights caused by charged particles from the sun
Wow.
interacting with our atmosphere.
The source even mentioned longing to see the aurora someday.
Uh,
Imagine witnessing that firsthand, those vibrant colors, the shimmering curtains of light.
I know.
That must be amazing.
It was unforgettable.
Now, shifting gears a bit, to more earthly beauty, we've got a whole cluster of natural wonders here.
Mm.
Snow, forests, oceans, mountains, waterfalls. The source uses some really vivid descriptions here. Snow clinging to trees,
Yeah.
the peaceful sounds of a forest, the mesmerizing vastness of the ocean.
It's all about those sensory details, isn't it? Bringing those visuals to life through words.
Totally.
Right.
I'm especially drawn to the ocean. That endless blue, the constant motion of the waves. It's captivating, but a little intimidating too, wouldn't you say?
Oh, the ocean definitely holds a certain mystique.
For sure.
And the source makes a really important point here about the fragility of these natural wonders. They talk about pollution in the oceans and the impact of climate change on mountains,
Yeah.
which reminds us that even in its grandest forms, beauty can be vulnerable.
It's a sobering thought for sure. It makes you appreciate those places even more knowing they need protecting.
It does. But let's not dwell on the serious side too long. This list also celebrates the beauty of living things, specifically animals and flowers.
Yeah, they highlight the tiger, the
Yeah.
scarlet macaw,
Yeah.
even the Siamese fighting fish. all incredible examples of nature's artistry.
Hmm.
And with flowers, they talk about those vibrant colors and how they completely transform landscapes, adding
Yes,
bursts of life and beauty to our surroundings.
it's true.
And now for a fascinating turn, the list gets personal.
Mm.
We've got entries like pictures of loved ones,
Oh, wow.
elderly couples and family.
Yeah.
Really makes you think, what makes these images beautiful?
All right.
Is it just the way they look, or is there something deeper going on?
I think it's definitely more than just the surface level.
Yeah. The source even describes family as the spring of life. What do you think they mean by that?
Well, it seems to suggest that family represents that source of our vitality, our connection to the past and the future.
I see.
It's a really personal interpretation of beauty, tied to love, shared experiences, the bonds that really shape our lives.
It's true. It's a reminder that beauty isn't just about those huge landscapes
Uh-huh.
or breathtaking scenery. It's about the intimacy of human connection, too.
Mm.
Seeing it in the face of those we love.
Exactly. And that's what makes this list so interesting. It embraces the grandeur of nature,
Right.
but also those really personal sides of beauty.
It challenges us to think about the whole spectrum of what we find visually appealing and to appreciate the beauty around us in all its different forms. Speaking of broadening our perspective, let's move on to some of the unexpected entries on this list. Things like jungles, candy canes,
I'm
and
interested.
even art.
Those are some curveballs for
Yeah.
sure. What do you think about jungles making it onto a list of beautiful things?
Right. It's definitely interesting. Maybe it's our fascination with the untamed side of things.
Yeah.
Like the raw power and biodiversity of nature,
Hmm.
in its most like exuberant form.
I can see that.
I can almost feel the humid air and hear all those sounds and see that vibrant tapestry of life, in a jungle setting.
It's like sensory overload in the best way possible.
Definitely.
And the source doesn't really explain it, which I think is kind of cool. It lets us come up with our own interpretations. Maybe for some, it's the sense of adventure and mystery that jungles evoke.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then there are candy canes.
Okay.
The source does say they love peppermint, but beyond that, why do you think candy canes made the cut?
Well, maybe it's the visual appeal. Those red and white stripes are so iconic. They evoke this sense of festivity and childhood nostalgia. Or maybe it just speaks to the beauty of simple pleasures.
Yeah.
Even something as ordinary as a candy cane can have a certain charm, especially when we connect it to happy memories.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's not always about the grand landscapes, is it?
Right.
Sometimes beauty is in the little things.
Yeah.
The things that spark joy in unexpected ways.
Exactly.
And speaking of things that spark a range of emotions, we have art. It's such a broad category,
Oh, yeah.
encompassing so many forms of creative expression.
Totally. From paintings to sculpture to music, art has this power to evoke emotions,
Yes.
challenge our perspectives, and connect us to something bigger than ourselves. It's a testament to human ingenuity,
Mhm.
our ability to create beauty and meaning out of the world around us.
And the interpretation of beauty in art is so subjective.
It really is.
What one person finds breathtaking, another might find confusing or even repulsive.
It's true.
It all comes down to individual taste and how we connect with the artist's vision.
Absolutely. And speaking of different interpretations, we have a couple familiar contenders that didn't quite make the top spots. Rainbows and sunrises.
Okay.
The source even compares sunrises to sunsets, noting that sunrises have prettier reds, oranges, and yellows.
Interesting. Do you have a preference?
It's hard to choose.
Oh, it's a tough one.
I
I love the quiet serenity of a sunrise, that feeling of a fresh start, but there's also something about the dramatic farewell of a sunset that really gets me. Those fiery hues painting the sky as the day ends.
Yeah.
It's almost poetic.
Yeah. It's amazing how our personal experiences, even our cultural backgrounds, can influence what we find beautiful. And talking about the science behind these spectacles,
Yeah.
the source actually gives a pretty clear explanation of how rainbows are formed. Sunlight refracting through water droplets to create that spectrum of colors.
It's amazing how something that's scientifically explainable can also have so much cultural and emotional meaning.
It really is. It speaks to how multifaceted beauty is, how it can be both tangible and intangible, rooted in science, AAD symbolism.
Exactly.
And then we have beautiful women,
Okay.
which the source acknowledges but doesn't really go into detail about. It's a complicated topic for sure, but maybe it's a reminder that beauty can be found in the human form, although we need to be mindful of objectification
Yes.
and not reduce people to just their looks.
Definitely. It's important to appreciate beauty in a way that respects everyone's dignity and individuality.
Absolutely.
Shifting back to the natural world, mountains also made the list. And the source seems really captivated by their size and that majestic presence they have.
They describe them as fascinating and visually beautiful, especially when you see them while hiking amid snow-capped peaks. It's that mix of ruggedness and grandeur, that feeling of being so small compared to the immensity of nature.
Yeah.
It's what evokes that awe and wonder.
For sure. And once again, the source brings up the issue of fragility.
Yeah.
They urge us to focus more on the beauty than the terror and violence we're committing. They don't say exactly what they're talking about,
Right.
but it definitely feels like a call to action, a reminder that we need to protect these beautiful places from human-caused harm.
Yeah, it's a powerful message, reminding us that our actions have consequences, even for something as seemingly permanent as a mountain. And it connects back to their earlier point about the fragility of oceans. It highlights this recurring theme in how they see beauty, a recognition of its vulnerability and the importance of protecting it.
It's a call to not just admire beauty, but to be responsible for it,
Yeah,
to make sure future generations can experience these wonders too.
exactly.
And there are actually still more entries on this list that we haven't even talked about yet.
I know, right?
Each one offering its own unique insight into how we perceive and experience beauty.
It's really fascinating.
It's like this treasure trove of perspectives
Yeah.
that makes us think about what we personally find beautiful. And it encourages us to go out and explore the world with a fresh awareness of the beauty all around us, both the grand and the everyday. All right, let's keep uncovering those treasures. Up next, something we see all the time but maybe don't always appreciate: the sky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's always there above us,
Right.
but when was the last time you really stopped and looked at it?
It's easy to overlook the everyday things.
It really is.
But the source highlights both the daytime sky, that clear blue, and the night sky with all those stars. It reminds us of that beauty and vastness all around us. They even point out that it contains the air we breathe,
That's true.
emphasizing that connection we have to it. It's like a source of life, but also this canvas for these amazing displays of nature.
Sometimes all it takes is a new perspective to appreciate what we see every day. Speaking of celestial spectacles, lunar eclipses also made the list. I think they're so beautiful, but also a little eerie.
Oh, yeah.
That reddish hue the moon gets
Yeah.
as it passes through Earth's shadow.
The source actually explains the science behind it, which I always find really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that we're part of this huge cosmic dance.
Yeah.
With all these celestial bodies constantly interacting, creating these incredible events. It reminds us that everything in the universe is connected.
And speaking of awe-inspiring waterfalls, the source talks about their visual beauty and the incredible sounds they make. It's that combination, I think, that makes them so captivating.
It's definitely a multi-sensory experience. You have the cascading water, the mist, the roar echoing through the area. It's no wonder waterfalls have been inspiring artists and poets for ages.
Then we have ancient ruins, which the source seems really fascinated by.
Yeah.
They talk about the structures built by those ancient civilizations, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Romans, and suggest that maybe their beauty even surpasses modern architecture.
I think it's that feeling of history, human ingenuity and artistry lasting through time. These structures are like these testaments to past civilizations, whispering stories about the people who built them and the lives they lived.
It's a reminder that beauty can transcend time, connecting us to the past.
Absolutely.
And inspiring us today. All right, we're down to the last few entries, some really interesting ones. Fire, fireworks, autumn leaves, and beaches. They each offer a totally different type of beauty, don't you think?
Definitely. The source describes fire as dancing, which is such a perfect image.
Yeah.
There's something so mesmerizing about watching flames move, their warmth and energy. It's captivating, but, also a little dangerous.
And then fireworks, which are pure spectacle, light and color, usually associated with celebration and joy. It's that quick burst of brilliance against the night sky,
that's right.
creating this feeling of wonder and excitement. And then we have autumn leaves, which are beautiful in a completely different way. The source really likes the vibrant colors,
Yes.
how they change the whole landscape, but also that symbolism, of change and the cycle of nature.
It's a reminder that there's beauty in all stages of life, even in decay and transition. And autumn leaves have this melancholy beauty too, a sense of letting go, embracing the changes that come with time.
So true. And finally, beaches. Who doesn't love a beautiful beach?
Oh, yeah.
The perfect mix of sand, sea, and sky. It's just classic relaxation and visual delight.
It's that feeling of escape, being surrounded by nature, the sound of the waves, the warm sand, the salty air. It's a multi-sensory experience that brings this feeling of peace and tranquility.
Well, as we've gone through this top 10 list, we've seen a huge variety of beautiful things.
Right.
From those celestial wonders to intimate personal moments, from the grand scale of nature to the simple pleasures of everyday life. It's been really interesting to explore all the ways beauty shows up in our world
It has.
and how what we find visually appealing is shaped by our own perceptions.
It all comes back to that fundamental question: what makes something beautiful? Is it objective or subjective? Is it something we're born with or something we learn? There are no easy answers.
Nope.
But by looking at different perspectives and exploring the world with open minds and hearts, we can develop a deeper appreciation for the beauty that's all around us in every form.
This list has been a great way to spark those conversations and make us think more about what we find beautiful and why.
I agree.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to really notice the beauty that's all around you, the big and the small,
Yeah.
the things that last and the things that fade away, and think about what makes it so captivating to you.